Hello and welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. Today we'll be doing the player ratings for Tottenham versus Chelsea. It was a 1-0 win for Chelsea. Tottenham's poor form continues. I have with me my co-hosts, Mr. Zohair Khan and Abraziz. So, what's up, man? How are you?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Nothing much. Don, looking happy. Mixed feelings for you this week, but how are you doing?
No, it's okay. I mean, the Spurs losing always helps, and I'm not too upset with the Arsenal. I mean, the way the refereeing decisions, of course, I'm upset with that, but I think the Arsenal is back. The 45 minutes that we played, everyone should be very worried that we're coming through, bro.
Well, the only people that need to be worried are you guys.
You should better be worried, bro. I mean, I know you guys won 9-0 and stuff, but doesn't matter. When we come at you, you guys have nowhere to go.
Bro, listen, you guys couldn't get a David Luiz card overturned against Wolves. What do you think is going to happen when we...
Yeah, well, if you guys keep paying them off, it's going to be hard for us to get anything off, you know.
Your tears sustain me, bro. Sorry, we have more money than you.
So now when I speak words and when you start making noises, that's exactly what happens.
What words, bro? Let's go, bro. I concern myself with this.
I think a lot of emotions are going through me right now. I love you, Zo.
But yeah, this game, just initial thoughts. Tottenham they're terrible in the first half. No intent or anything. Second half, they started to press. But still, they didn't have any clear-cut chances. Whatever was put into the box was just cleared. So, your thoughts on the performance initially?
So as our Lord and Savior Troops would say, Jose, he's got to go, blood. He's got to go. But honestly, yeah, I mean, honestly, very, very negative performance. Tottenham has been struggling for, a while now, even before Harry Kane went down, and they've been worse, obviously, with Harry Kane going down. Do I think that they have enough talent to get by without him? Absolutely. It's not like they don't have players that can play. Of course, there's a big drop off when it comes to, quality when Kane isn't playing, but still, against the team, whether it's Chelsea or whether it's someone like Brighton or whoever it is, you have enough players that you can be creating. I think a lot of it also comes down to the tactical setup, and it's very, very negative. And it's one thing that, if you're playing negatively or if you're playing defensively, you're parking the bus, it's fine. It's a valid tactic, But if you're going to implement it, the only way that works is if you're winning those games. If you're winning 1-0, 2-0, whatever, you're parking the bus, it's fine. No one's going to cut. At the end of the day,
which was happening in the first half.
Exactly. As our good friend over here, it says, it's a results-based business, So, and it is, if you're winning 1-0 and you're winning, no one's really going to care. But the minute you start losing and you're still playing negative football, you're still defending with 9 men, 8 men, whatever it is, and you're losing 1-0, you're losing, 2-1 or whatever it is, people don't want to see that. The commentary is obviously a little bit dramatic. They're always talking about that it's so negative. But Jose has won, championships that way. Yeah. He's won trophies that way. But, right now, that sort of very defensive-minded football isn't even working for him. He's not even getting those clean sheets. He's not winning 1-0. He's losing. So, there needs to be a tactical shakeup for sure, because at this rate, Jose won't even make it to the second season.
Yeah, some valid points there. And quickly, Chelsea, they're feeding off that new manager bounce now. Played well. They had a lot of the ball. Probably could have been a bit more clinical in finishing, but apart from that, they'll be very happy with the result.
Absolutely. I think 7 points and 7 points out of a possible 9 with not even giving a goal away so far in his 3 games. Yeah. I think he's quickly come in and really changed things around for Chelsea that was looking very, very, very poor about 3 games back. But I mean, Tuchel is quite an amazing tactician. So I never doubt this for 1 second. If he can continue this consistency, that's going to be key. I think that Chelsea are definitely in with a shout out for top 4.
Yeah, definitely. And then, okay, let's crack in with the...
Sorry, I have one question for Don. How long do you think Tuchel's going to inculcate for?
He's already inculcated, bro. It's just a matter of staying in there now.
Cool.
Yep. So let's start with the player ratings. So we'll go with Tottenham first. Take care of that. Hugo Lloris in goal. A good save. He didn't save the penalty, but apart from that, he was okay. What are your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, I mean, he did decently. Nothing you could do about the penalty. He still went the right direction. Other than that, he was decent in goal. It's not exactly like Chelsea had very many, clear-cut opportunities. They were the dominant team, but it's not like they were, raining shots on his goal. Didn't have much to do with the one time he was really called upon to make a save. He did. Conceded a goal to the penalty. That's going to be a pretty average score for him. It's 6.5 out of 10.
6.5 out of 10 for Lloris. And then moving on to
Sure.
Aurier, he had a few good tackles, but your overall thoughts on his performance?
So I thought Aurier played one of his better games, man. He got forward well. He gave Chelsea fits down that right hand side. You know, I feel like when he's dialed in, he can be a handful because he's a strong guy. He's quick. He's athletic. You know, he can really add a lot going forward, and he defends well as well when he's got his head in the game. But today, you know, we saw that even though he added energy going forward, he looked like a threat as compared to the rest of the Spurs team, I guess. But he still lost the ball a fair bit. He still, you know, had defensive lapses in the game, allowing Chelsea to counter. And you need to build momentum in these sorts of games. But I'll give him a 6.5.
6.5 out of 10 for Aurier. And then moving on to Toby Alderweireld.
Man, Toby's one of my favorite players on Tottenham. I really like him. I actually wanted him to come to United when he was available for, I think it was like 20, 25 mil. I'm glad we didn't get him because he's declined rapidly. But that being said, you know, again, the way that Spurs were set up, the way that Spurs were playing, it invited a lot of Chelsea pressure on. So it's like he didn't necessarily have that much to do in terms of super hard defending work, but he was just constantly under pressure just because of how much of the ball that Chelsea had. And it's tiring to play like that. It's tiring to keep chasing all the time. That's what you saw with that Pep Barcelona team. Other teams would get exhausted chasing the ball and never getting it. And they just looked a little bit tired today. They were set up to very defensive, like I said, but Chelsea were still breaking through, and I'm sure Toby didn't enjoy that. He picked up a yellow. Just to be generous to him, I'll give him the 6.5.
6.5 out of 10 for Toby. And then moving on to Eric Dyer, had a poor game that I don't know what he was doing for that penalty. Like, it was a very, very clumsy tackle. He was just like,
bro, my man breakdancing on the ground, bro, just kind of just spinning around. What was going on in his head? I don't even know. Like, listen, I was watching with a friend, and they were basically saying, they're like, oh, come on, that's not a lot of contact for Warner to go down. I'm like, I know it's not a lot of contact, but still, it's contact. And
he invited him for that.
It's like there were so many, like he had so many bites of the cherry, and he was really like he was playing on. He was on borrowed time at that point in time. The minute he tried that the first time, it didn't work out. Bro, get up, just let it, just take the time to get up. It's Werner. He's not gonna score. But at the same time, he had that mental glitch, gave away a penalty, and that's all that was in the game basically. 5 out of 10 to be generous to Eric Dyer.
That is generous. I would have gone lower, but yeah, generous. I think he had a poor game, Eric Dyer, and at the end of the day, that penalty cost him the game. Moving on to Ben Davies.
Bro, Ben Davies was anonymous. I forgot that he was playing. I had to look it up. Because I just didn't see anything from him.
He struggled at the back as well
He struggled at the back. Obviously, Tottenham looked better when they're playing Sergio. Yeah, exactly. Ben Davies has got experience, man. He's been playing for time, and he used to have a lot of potential, and he's just never kicked on. And I don't know if that was just like this is his potential, or it's just been a question of he hasn't received the right coaching, or whatever it is. Like I said, he was mainly involved in his own half, and Spurs need more from their players when Kane isn't playing. They need other people to step up and create something. You need your fullbacks to get forward and just add some sort of different threat as opposed to what we saw from Tottenham today. How much of that is tactics? How much of that is ability? I'll let someone else decide that. But I think giving him anything more than a 5.5 would be unreasonable.
A 5.5.
Yeah, 5.5.
Yeah. And then moving on to Højbjerg.
Højbjerg, man, he was his usual tenacious self. He's been probably, I think, the most consistent performer of the Spurs season. Given how all the exploits of Harry Kane, but I think Højbjerg is the guy who shows up game in, game out, shows up every week, doesn't get injured, doesn't get hurt. Even if he does get hurt, he keeps playing through it. I'm not saying that the injuries are comparable. Harry's ankles are made out of glass. This is a scientific fact. But I thought he did what he had to do. He popped up all over the pitch, did a good job breaking up Chelsea play, but also tried to move Tottenham play forward. But not enough support around him. I'll give him a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 for Højbjerg. And then Moussa Sissoko.
I thought Sissoko had a good game. He had a difficult task in the sense that he was man marking Mason Mount, and Mason was slippery. Mason is a skilled player. He's got good footwork, good movement, and I think that Sissoko did have his hands full. But I also thought that even though he didn't always have a handle on Mason, he did a good job otherwise, bringing the ball forward, trying to start plays, disrupting Chelsea plays, because that's also Sissoko has that in his game. He has the ability to be, a disruptive midfielder as well as someone that holds the ball and progresses the play as well. I thought he did well overall, but again, sort of the same thing that I said about Højbjerg, that he had a good game, but not enough support in front of him, not enough support from from the back line either. 7 out of 10 for Musa.
7 out of 10 for Musa Sissoko, and then Ndombele.
I mean, I like the fact that Ndombele is playing in that 10 role. I think that he definitely has the creative nous to be able to perform well in that role. Did it happen today? It didn't. I thought he was pretty poor. He was barely involved, man. I think he had something like 40 odd touches, and if you have someone playing as a number 10, you would think that the majority of the play is going to be running through that player. They're the ones, to give the example of someone like Bruno or Emil Smith-Rowe. These guys want the ball. Give me the ball. Let me play the ball. Let me set things up. I didn't see that from Ndombele. I think Ndombele is quality, but I didn't see any of that from him today. And the majority of his passing was actually in the Tottenham half, as opposed to creating something in Chelsea's half. So you can't have that from that sort of player. So I think I gotta give him a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Yeah, I think he picked up something in the second half. First half, like you said, it was negative, like it was in the Tottenham half. And then when they actually started to put some pressure, I think he picked up something, and he just, he didn't look effective today. Moving on to Bergwijn.
Man, Bergwijn frustrates me because I see the quality in him. He has genuine talent. He has flashes of quality, and you saw it at times today. He was dribbling, he was getting forward, he was getting at the Chelsea players, but the end result is always lacking. There's no final ball from him, and you need that. You don't need just some guy who's going to dribble, do a couple of tricks, and then lose the ball. Sure, it looks nice on his YouTube highlight reel, but at the end of the day, there's not enough end product from him, and like I said, it's a recurring theme, and you need more from these guys. You need more, you need more from your play, from your forwards, from your wingers, especially when you're missing your main attacking threat. I'll give him a 5.5.
5.5 out of 10. And then Son, this style of football, didn't help him. He was kind of isolated. But your thoughts on his performance?
I think you nailed it, bro. He was isolated. Son is definitely able to create on his own, but he plays better when someone is creating for him, when someone is playing the ball into positions that he can get into, that he can sort of take on 1-2 defenders, not have to run from midfield. And I think that the way that Tottenham are playing right now is definitely not maximizing his ability. It's a testament to his quality that he was fouled 7 times. So Chelsea definitely didn't treat him with kid gloves. They gave him the rough treatment, and you got to do what you got to do. I can't sort of say anything about that, given that Chelsea came away with the win. So I feel bad for him. I'll give him a 6.5 for his work rate and his involvement, such as it was. But Josie's got to figure out how to get him in the game.
Just a quick question on that. I know they're two a bit different players, but somebody like a Maddison, he's missing Vardy now as well, but that hasn't seemed to impact him. So your thoughts on that? Is it the style of play, or is it just they're two different players?
I think that with it's a slightly different situation, because when you looked at the way Tottenham were playing, Tottenham,
it revolves around those two.
It revolves around Kane and Son,
Whereas Leicester have different players coming in on the wings as well.
Exactly. When you had Kane and Son in that purple patch where they were just, if you look at their figures amongst each other in terms of assists from Kane to Son and Son to Kane, crazy. I think they have 7 and 9 respectively. Goals scored, they're both up there, but that's it. There's no other threats from that team. It's a very, very top-heavy team, top-heavy situation in that sense. And it's once you lose one player, Kane, now you can shut down Son, and that they're Tottenham's not going to be able to hurt you with Eric Lamela or Steven Bergwijn or these players. They know, teams know that they can take it a little bit easy and focus more on shutting down this guy, because it's only one player now instead of 2. So you need to have that. At least with Leicester, it's more distributed, right? There's Vardy. Vardy for sure is their main guy, but you have Harvey Barnes, you have Jose Perez, you have Tielemans, you have people that are showing up, James Justin, even the defenders, Castagne, all these guys. There's different threats on the pitch. They're not as dependent in that sense.
Yeah, I got you. That's a really good point. And then Vinicius, if that's how you pronounce it.
I call him Vinicius. I hope that's right. He was a goddamn ghost, man. 21 touches, bro. That's the least amount of touches for anyone to play 90 minutes today.
He had
I
that
mean,
golden header,
He
bro,
had a
in
good
the end.
chance
Golden
right at
chance
the
in the
end.
end. Yeah.
89th
but
minute, I think it was.
that's it, man. My man's feeding off scraps over here. Barely, it's breadcrumbs at this point, you know. So
That's
like
true.
think
Like
about it.
they didn't create as much for him to
They
do,
didn't
but yeah.
create. Like, what do you want to do? Okay, sure, he had a good chance, fair enough. But
Yeah.
you guys watch enough football, man. Anything can happen. With you know, strikers miss. You know, players miss
100%,
shots. They
100%.
they
Yeah.
miss
You can't
open
blame
shots.
him for that. Yeah.
So you know, I think more important is to focus on the fact that you know he's not getting the ball. He's barely involved in the game. Like you know, I was talking about Ben Davies being anonymous, but literally Vinicius could have stayed at home and no one would have noticed.
Yeah. So, what rating are you giving him?
I'll give him a 5.5.
And Son, you said, sorry?
Sona said 6.5.
You said 6.5. Okay. And that completes the starting 11. You want to do the subs? So, Mora for Ndombele and Lamela for Bergwijn?
Yeah, I gave them both 6 out of 10 just because I like the energy that they brought.
Lamela had a good chance as well. Yeah.
Lamela had a good chance. Mora had a decent shot. And you know, you just saw that Tottenham got into the game a little bit more with both those guys playing. Again, you know, it's nice to see that you know that a little bit of a change in energy, but it wasn't enough to shift the momentum in Tottenham's favor. Chelsea always looked in control, and again, both Lamela and Mora sort of lacked that cutting edge. You know, that 6-1 against United aside, you know, let's be real. It's not like anyone's particularly worried about Lucas Moura banging in goals.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give him both a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. And finally, Jose Mourinho is getting a lot of stick.
4 out of 10, man. I put the blame for this, you know, strictly at Jose's feet, solely at his feet, because I've been talking about it throughout the whole thing that it's about tactics, it's about how he's setting up his team to play, and I thought that it was super negative. I get that you're missing players, you're missing Kane, you're missing Julian, you're missing a few guys, but still, you have enough talent. You got to make. Everybody's got injuries. You know, Klopp has injuries. You know, Southampton is playing kids off the street at this point. So you know, everyone has injuries.
And that Bale situation is confusing as well. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, that Bale situation is confusing. It's unfortunate. I think that there has been a you know marked decline in his ability, which is a shame. But still, if you're like sometimes it can be about man management. And there's, like I said, there's enough players that someone of Jose's caliber should be able to set something up to get at least a result.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got 4 out of 10, man.
4 out of 10 for Mourinho. That wraps up Tottenham's ratings. So hang on with us as we do Chelsea's ratings with Don. Don, Chelsea don't have a golden trophy, but they have a Champions League. Your thoughts on the performance? Let's go with Mendy first. I wanted to say the Champions League thing for a long time, but I know that golden thing was coming in my face, so I said it before.
Yeah, as long as it's not golden, I'm not too worried.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Mendy, I thought Mendy was okay. I think he didn't have much to do, especially in the first half. He hardly had anything to do. That save from Lamela was pretty good, but apart from that, hardly had much to do at all. He was left looking at the ball with that shot in the end by Mises. He just, I mean, if it was going in, he had no way to stop it. But I thought he had a decent game, 7.5 out of 10.
7.5 out of 10 for
clean
Mendy.
sheet as well. Yeah.
And Azpilicueta, Tuchel is getting all the old school guys back, man. Azpilicueta, Alonso, he's rolling back the years for Chelsea.
Yeah, the defense for Chelsea in general was, I thought, looked good really because of the fact that Tottenham were really poor moving forward. I mean, it just made
especially
someone
first
like a
half
Chelsea
there was
look
nothing.
good.
They didn't have to do anything.
Hardly anything. I feel like Thiago Silva was unavailable because for the 35 minutes that he played, I just felt like he was hardly had probably a couple of touches because everything was happening in the Tottenham half. So yeah. So I mean, moving on to coming back to Azpilicueta, I thought he was cool in possession. I thought he defended pretty well for whatever little he had to do. I thought he had a decent game, 8 on 10.
8 on 10 for Azpilicueta. And then Thiago Silva, he got injured, unfortunately. But if you want to just briefly talk about his thing.
He was chilling. He was chilling with Mendy. They were talking about how they have to go back home and figure out some stuff. He hardly had anything to do. He's just chilling with Mendy at the back. So until he got injured, of course, I think 7 on 10 for chilling with Mendy and making it look cool.
7 on 10. Rudiger.
So Rudiger also, I thought similar to Azpilicueta, I thought he had a pretty decent game. He hardly did anything wrong. He was decent early also. I thought he had a decent game. So I think overall he was good as well. But like I said, I mean, these guys were looking good because Tottenham didn't pose much of a challenge at all. So again, an 8.5 on 10 for Rudiger. I
I gotta say one thing about Rudiger. He's really stepped his game up from pretty much being out of the team. A lot of noise about
There's
him
yeah.
getting transferred, and he's been revitalized. If you ask me.
There was a lot of discussion about he being one of the guys that turned on Lampard as well. So maybe he wants to prove a point or two as well. I mean, saying that he can play actually, and he looked good today as well. I think I'll be interested to see when they play someone like a City or a United or a Arsenal with more attacking threat, because Spurs just didn't show that today. So we'll have to see how he performs against a team that attacks a little bit more. So we'll probably see that in the coming games.
Yep. And then Reece James.
I think both the wing backs, him and Alonso, I thought both. I think it was a more of a tactical decision by Tuchel, because he was worried about the counter. That was the only thing that probably most of these teams are getting worried about now. So I think both
Yeah.
these guys, I thought for moving forward, they were I think
Conservative.
intentionally, conservative intentionally. But I think defensively they didn't really have much to do in terms of. Because of the fact that I keep saying this again, but I think the lack of Tottenham threat just helped. But I think that this was an intentional decision, so we didn't see them, because I think both of them are very good moving forward, but I just didn't see much of that. So I'm going to dock off a point, but I think it was more tactical. So 7 on 10 for Reece James.
7-10 Reece James, and then moving on, Alonso.
Similarly, I think even I didn't see him move forward as much as I would have liked. Yes, you saw him a little bit more, but I just think that they can do it, but I think that they didn't do it intentionally. That's another 7 on 10 for him.
Yeah, and then Jorginho scored the winning goal, but we didn't see his routine hop skip in the penalty. But yeah, your thoughts on his performance?
I think that's because he missed it once last time. Remember, I think it was against Arsenal when he missed it. So I think he's
Was it?
learned from
Yeah,
that.
it was against Arsenal. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he's learned and he's figured out, I don't want to fool around anymore. Let's just, and I thought it was a
Listen, I
decently
mean, not
taken
everyone's
penalty.
Bruno, right? Not everyone can do that with ice cold. It's different. Levels.
I had a feeling that something about Bruno would come up when a penalty is being talked about, but but yeah, I thought he had a decent game. I thought him along with Kovacic, I thought they manned the midfield very well. They didn't give too much of a chance to Tottenham to create anything. Whatever little that Tottenham were bringing forward, I thought they broke it up pretty well. I thought both of them had a good both of them had a very good game. Jorginho also, I thought, a decently taken penalty. I'll give him a 7.5 on 10.
7.5 out of 10. And then Kovacic, you mentioned him. He had a really good game as well.
I thought he had a very good game. I thought he was breaking plays whenever he needed to. I thought he was all over the place, running good engine in there. I thought he worked hard through the game. 8 on 10 for him.
Yep, 8 on 10 for Kovacic, and then moving on to Mason Mount.
Mason Mount.
Credit to Tuchel though for playing him. Everyone was saying that he's gonna probably bench the youngsters, but he played him.
No, I think Mason Mount was clever. I thought he was like Zoe mentioned earlier as well. I thought a slippery customer. He was kind of getting in and out of spaces pretty well, and he tested Lloris a few times. I mean, there was just that one good save of him as well. So I think he was the man of the match for me in today's game. Even though he wasn't able to get a goal or anything, but I think he really caused a headache for the backline of the Spurs backline, and I thought he was very good, very very clever, very
creative.
Creative around that box, and I think that's a good role for him. I think if they can continue to keep doing that, I think he's one of the other youngsters that you can look at, keep an eye out on.
Havertz can't shine Mount's boots at this point in time, bro.
Yeah, because Havertz is unfortunately not picking it up. But I think if Mount continues like this, Havertz is going to find a hard time getting into this team.
Yep, fair enough. So you went 8 out of 10.
I get 8.5 on 10 actually.
8.5 on 10 for Mason Mount. Yeah. Callum Hudson-Odoi. He first half I think he was really good.
He was running in that right channel. He created so many spaces. I thought he was very, very good in that first half. I thought he tapered off a little bit towards the end of the second half as well. Like in the middle of the second half, I thought he was maybe he was just tired because he was really running right on that right channel. I thought he had a very good game. Some very good crosses. I just felt like none of them were converted, unfortunately, and that's kind of something that maybe Tuchel has to see a little bit more and just like maybe look at the nitty-gritties of that. But I thought he had a very good game, and I think he'll only learn. He's still a youngster also. I think he'll do well. I think pretty decent performance, 8 on 10.
8 on 10 for Callum Hudson-Odoi. And then Timo Werner got into really good position. He got the assist. I'll give him some confidence, like he got the penalty, but he got into good positions again, couldn't finish. That same problem is coming, but it might be just like a matter of games.
One goal. It's a matter of one goal. I think as soon as that one goal goes in, I think he'll start to really get those goals coming banging in. I think the thing he should probably take heart of is that the fact that he's really getting into very good positions. He could have easily a couple of times scored. I think he was hardworking. I think the only thing Tuchel needs to do is now put an arm around his shoulder and just tell him, you know what, just keep doing what you're doing. The goals will come.
Yeah.
And the only thing, the worst thing for him now would be just getting underconfident and making those mistakes of not getting into those positions. I think he's yes, he didn't score, but I think he's just a matter of time. I think he's coming into his own. I think he will start, and when he scores, I have a funny feeling he won't stop, and that's going to be annoying from a lot of these Chelsea fans.
Yeah,
but we'll
because he
see
does
how
get
that
into the
goes.
positions to score. He does get into good goal scoring positions. So if he can get that confidence back, we'll probably see plenty of goals from him.
I think if you ask me, and I know you guys aren't asking me, but I'm going to tell you guys anyways. I think that honestly, like Werner would really benefit from a second striker. Like if Werner was playing off a
But he's
traditional
played off
line.
Giroud so many times.
Yeah, he's played off Giroud, but like
Just have
usually
to figure
like,
out those
but no,
tactics,
when
I
he
think.
plays off Giroud, he's playing off the wing. I'm saying don't
Or
play him
left.
off the wing.
Like both in the center.
Yes, both play Werner
4-4-2.
as a second striker. Play Werner as a second striker. Have Giroud, like if you have Giroud up front, and Werner occupying the space behind him. Let Giroud hold the ball up
Like the
for
Rooney
Werner
Tevez type.
basically. But don't ever compare that comparison again.
No,
But yes.
no, just for an
Like a poor
example,
man's Rooney
the
Tevez.
Yeah, because
positioning.
if you look at how he played it at Leipzig, he was able to find the most success. Yes, he played as an out and out striker at Leipzig as well, but he usually played best when he had someone supporting him up front. I feel like he gets isolated, and there's some big boys in the Premier League. There's some big center backs that are bossing him at this point in time. So a little bit of help in those close quarters, someone to just take the center back's attention away from Werner and let him sort of come in, I think would be helpful to him. Chelsea,
Not a
hit me
bad
up.
idea. Yeah, not a bad idea. Try the traditional 4-4-2 with them, with Chelsea.
You know?
Yeah, it'd be interesting. And then that wraps up the starting 11, Don, right?
Yeah.
So the subs, Christensen for Thiago Silva.
Yeah, I think when he came on, also he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't put a foot wrong. Whatever.
Rolling back the years, man.
Yeah, Christensen. Yeah.
All these guys that I saw the FPL
Rudiger,
like 3 years
Christensen,
ago.
Rudiger, Christensen, and Pulisic. Not Pulisic. I mean, what's his name?
Alonso.
Aspilicueta. Alonso.
Yeah,
Wow, yeah, these guys are all old people.
Yeah.
But I thought they did well. They were all good. I think Christensen as well. I thought pretty decent game, 7 on 10.
Yeah, 7 on 10. And Pulisic?
Pulisic was also good. I thought he was also. I think the Burnley game gave him a lot of confidence. I think the goal and the assist over there is really picked up his confidence. I thought he ran into those spaces pretty well. I thought he was fouled a few times as well. I thought he was trying to get into those good positions, and he was probably the most the guy creating the most threat in the last 10 to 15 minutes when he was on. I think he had a good game, 6.5 on 10. Just didn't have enough time to create too much more,
Yeah, 6.5 on 10 for Pulisic, and then N'Golo Kante.
I mean, it's his job to break out whatever he possibly can. I think he was sitting right in the middle of those, made it a little bit more of a 4-man defense, and they were just chilling over there. And I think he did a very good job. He broke out whatever play he needed to, yeah, did a decent job again. 6.5 on 10.
6.5 on 10 for Kante. Yep. That wraps up the ratings for the players, and then Thomas Tuchel.
I thought he's good. I thought for his third game, I thought he had a very good game. It's a big game against so-called players of these Tottenham, whatever they are called. I can't even call them a big team, but you guys do sometimes.
You can just call them best club in North London, bro.
That's not true, unfortunately. So I won't be able to call them that. But yeah, I think he still has a few things he needs to work on. I think
finishing especially.
Yeah, that's why that was just what I was going to say. I think moving forward, attacking wise, he needs to figure it out. Defensively, I think he's doing okay, but I also need to see how he plays against a high press side like a Liverpool or a side that keeps creating like a City. That's when this defense and this back line will probably get tested much more. And if they can come out on top on those games, that's when I think that he's really figured it out. So he has his work cut out for him. I mean, he should be happy with the 7 out of the possible 9 points, but I think he has a fair amount of work still to do if he wants to turn this around and make this a championship side.
Yep, some really good points there. I think that wraps up the player ratings and the manager ratings. Any last note, guys? I think you guys summed it up beautifully. But anything else you guys want to say?
Nope.
Good.
No, man, I'm good.
Yeah, at least we got to see a goal. I thought it was going to be a 0-0 the way it was looking. But yeah, that wraps up the player ratings. Thank you so much for joining me, guys, and see you very soon.
Sounds good, man. See you soon.
Take care.